What's his name then?
Hello, and welcome to another Marvelous video. In Venom: The Last Dance, Marvel fans were very enthusiastic to see the introduction of Knull, the demonic deity of symbiotes, on the big screen. Comic fans recognize him as the diabolical genius behind all symbiotes, providing a degree of menace unparalleled in the Marvel world. Could Knull be Marvel's next big evil, posing a threat comparable to Thanos? Well, Knull's ancient abilities and cosmic ambitions may lead to a new direction for the MCU, despite the challenge of replacing an iconic villain like Thanos. Today, we're diving into Knull's origin story from the comic, his powers and personality, and of course, his role in The Last Dance, to see if he has what it takes to fill those villainous shoes and bring a darker edge to Marvel's future. Let's get into it. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
We have something my creator needs. It's a key that would free him.
From darkness to domination, the origins and history of Knull in Marvel Comics. Imagine a dark god born of pure void, awakened only by a clash of light that intruded upon his endless kingdom. Knull, the eldritch creator of Marvel's symbiotes, embodies a cosmic hostility that's been brewing since the dawn of creation itself. When the Celestials dared to bring light into his kingdom of darkness, Knull did not accept the title of King in Black, as they offered. Rather, he chose to forge his own path of destruction. Knull's reign of terror started when he used the first ever symbiote, a living darkness fashioned into a deadly blade that he used to decapitate a Celestial. He refined the blade by using the severed head of the cosmic god. Holding the infamous Necrosword, Knull promised the universe that he would cleanse it of all light and return it to the ancient void. His powers only grew as he experimented with the symbiotic creatures, making himself into the nexus of a hive and creating an army of deadly symbiote dragons. He then set out on a campaign of brutal conquest across the universe, commanding a legion of these symbiote dragons. His machinations were thwarted, however, when two of these dragons came to Earth and clashed with Thor, the god of thunder. Thor killed one dragon, thereby cutting Knull's bond to the entire symbiote army, which began to break apart into singular entities. The other dragon was defeated in a fierce aerial battle. Its body sank deep into the North Sea. As the symbiotes adapted to their newfound independence on Earth, they absorbed concepts like honor and loyalty, turning against their creator. Rebranding themselves Clintar, their word for cage, they imprisoned Knull within a world forged from their collective will. One of Knull's most iconic roles in comics was in the King in Black crossover event. Despite being incarcerated for millennia, Knull was freed by Carnage and would eventually make his way to Earth, where he faced off against Earth's greatest heroes and even murdered Eddie Brock. But that victory was short-lived, as Brock's son Dylan, who had some special symbiote abilities, and the Valkyries came to help. In the final battle, Eddie, resurrected and empowered by the God of Light, was able to defeat Knull by throwing the villain into the core of the sun and ending his eternal dark reign. Created by writer Donny Cates and artist Ryan Stegman, Knull's official debut in Marvel Comics was in Venom Volume 4, Issue 3 in 2018. Yet his presence was felt even earlier, appearing as a mysterious, nameless entity in Thor: God of Thunder, Issue 6 in 2013. Since then, he quickly rose to become one of Marvel's most terrifying villains, ultimately emerging as a nemesis for Venom, as well as clashing with heroes like Thor and the Silver Surfer. Knull's influence grew massively with his role as the main antagonist in the previously mentioned epic King in Black crossover event, where he proved to be a threat on a scale that forced nearly every hero on Earth to unite against him. So will Knull be the MCU's next big baddie?
You may not make it out of this alive, buddy.
I will annihilate
A cosmic reckoning, Knull's path to becoming the MCU's new arch-villain. In Venom: The Last Dance, Knull is more than just a lurking threat. He's the dark god who seeks to reclaim his influence over the symbiote. As the trilogy's climactic villain, Knull emerges to set the stage for even greater ambition, much like how Thanos was gradually introduced as a galaxy-spanning antagonist in the first Avengers movie. In his quest to unleash havoc, Knull is framed as an overarching villain who's primed for a central role within the larger Marvel universe, bringing a powerful cosmic menace to the franchise. The Last Dance reveals Knull's connection to the symbiotes through a sequence of events set in motion when Venom's actions expose the existence of a Codex, a crucial artifact that could release Knull from his ancient imprisonment. The mid-credit scene hints at his larger threat. Like Thanos before him, who began as a shadowy figure orchestrating intergalactic chaos from the sideline, Knull's potential for escalation is immense. This careful introduction mimics the strategy Marvel used with Thanos, teasing an imminent danger while building fan anticipation for a cosmic-level showdown. With the multiverse now established, there's room for Knull's narrative to intertwine with the broader MCU, particularly with the chaotic crossover already teased by the interactions in Venom: Let There Be Carnage and Spider-Man: No Way Home. The introduction of Knull would also leverage an existing lore in the MCU. Yes, we're talking about the Necro Sword that has already been seen being wielded by Gore in Thor: Love and Thunder. This opens doors to possible storyline, with Knull coming into play as the first wielder of the Necro Sword. Since Knull is the originator of the symbiotes, his powers would give the MCU not only a darker aesthetic, but also an army of venomized heroes and villains. This frightful horde can create a fresh style of Marvel storytelling. Furthermore, Knull's power level, remember that he can fight entire cosmic pantheons alone, puts him at a level of threat that would make him an Avengers-level foe. His introduction in the MCU could usher in a crossover of unprecedented proportion, as members from different Marvel factions like the Guardians of the Galaxy and even Spider-Man join forces to resist his symbiotic onslaught, especially with Avengers Secret Wars on the horizon. Like Thanos, Knull is an escalation of stakes that could push the heroes of the MCU to their limits and bring them together against a common, devastating adversary.
Timelines are breaking.
The time has come.
Symbiotic Dominion, Knull's command over darkness. Knull is a cosmic evil force that holds the power to shape the very fabric of the Marvel Universe. His powers derive from an intense connection with the living abyss, which he uses to manipulate darkness. Through manipulation, Knull can produce the symbiotes and create a hive mind, through which he possesses various powers taken from every symbiote he controls. This makes him not only a great opponent, but also a strategic mastermind, who can overpower his enemies just by sheer numbers. Physically, Knull is almost godlike in durability, strength, and healing, with a near immortality aspect to his character. He's survived battles with some of the most powerful beings in the cosmos, including the Celestials and Thor. He can survive massive physical trauma that would be fatal to another, and even when his physical form has been destroyed, Knull's consciousness endures within the hive mind of the symbiote. This near immortality puts him in a constant position as a threat, as he does not need to drink or sleep, and still lives for billions of years. Knull's dark energy manipulation makes him an enhanced threat factor. He can cast massive streams of magical energy that can cause blackouts to even the strongest heroes and sprout a pair of immense dragon-like wings from his body, enabling him to fly across the universe. Since he can also create symbiotes from his blood and mentally control them, Knull manifests a primal fear of darkness and chaos. Knull's strongest weapon is all black, also known as the Necro Sword. He can transform all of his immense dark energy into deadly force by using this weapon, which is fashioned from the Celestial's head. In addition to fighting other strong beings with his blade, he also drains their life force, further enhancing his already impressive skill. Knull also created a symbiote armor out of the living abyss. Initially, this armor was deep black in color, but once Knull had set up the symbiote Imperium, he emblazoned upon its chest and back with a red dragon emblem, which showed quite prominently. The whole range of abilities of the armor remains somewhat mysterious. However, it has shown a tremendous capacity for shapeshifting to form a waistcloth, cape, and even a draconic helmet. Made of the same material that comprised lesser symbiotes, this armor also shares similar powers. While it's presumed to have vulnerabilities to intense heat and sonic attacks, it has proven remarkably resilient, enduring a descent through a planet's atmosphere and surviving immersion in stellar plasma without significant damage. Unlike Thanos, who mistakenly believed he did the world a good deed by eradicating half of its population for balance, Knull actually relishes in destruction and conquest. His sadistic nature is arrogant because he tends to underestimate his enemies and, instead, asks for his symbiote army to do the work for him. This could be a weakness in the longer narrative of the MCU because his arrogance might sometimes leave him vulnerable. When compared to other MCU villains like Ultron, who sought to eradicate humanity to evolve it, Knull's goals are more nihilistic. He seeks not just to dominate, but to obliterate civilizations and corrupt all life. This malevolent ambition could drive a compelling arc in the MCU, especially if it contrasts with more altruistic heroes striving to protect life. With all of these abilities, Knull has the potential to be a fantastic enemy for the heroes of MCU, as well as the foundation of an epic plot, drawn from Marvel's vast cosmic lore. Marvelous verdict. That brings us to the end of this video. We believe Knull is a strong contender to be the next iconic MCU villain because of his recent rise to prominence in the Marvel Universe. He's an intriguing character who can enthrall viewers with his extensive past, special weapons like the Necro Sword and symbiote armor, and his strong ties to the symbiote heritage. His capacity to oppose our adored Marvel heroes with the concepts of chaos and darkness in the background represents an exciting direction for upcoming MCU stories. Before we go, we'd like to say that Knull is an absolutely worthy heir to the Thanos legacy, since he's not just another villain, but a cosmic horror whose presence mirrors the darkest qualities of the universe. Do you think Knull could fill Thanos' shoes? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked this video, remember to hit that like button, and if you really enjoyed it, please share it with all your friends. I'll see you soon.